Hi, I'm Revd Tim Gage, and I'm the rector at St Peter's Church in West Blatchington in Hove. I'm delighted to introduce Jan Butter. He's, God willing, going to be our curate starting in June when he's ordained deacon. And Jan, it's really great to have you here today. And I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about your background and about your journey leading up to this point.
Sure. Hi, yeah. Well, I qualified as a teacher originally, and then a journalist before getting into communications as a communications professional for the charity sector, and worked for charity for about 8 years, something like that, and then worked as the communications director at the Anglican Communion Office for 5 years, working with Anglicans right around the world, which was absolutely fantastic. And for the past 6 years, I've worked with World Vision, which is an international Christian children's charity. Married to Jenny, with 2 kids. And in terms of my own journey, I suppose. Well, I've been preaching and teaching and leading in church since my early 20s, and felt for a long time that God might be calling me to ordained ministry, but it's taken this long to get me to the place where I felt like I could kind of step into the discernment process. And yeah, kind of 5 years later, it seems like the church feels like I have a calling as well. So here I am.
That's excellent. And I guess it's slightly unusual times and with your training and everything. But how has lockdown been for you? How has it affected you in terms of preparing for this next chapter of your ministry?
Well, I mean, lockdown was a challenge for everyone, obviously, for a whole variety of reasons. In terms of this particular journey, I think in one sense it was a real. I mean, I'm busy at work and busy at home and visiting family around the country quite a lot. And actually, so being in lockdown allowed me to actually reflect, spend time reflecting, praying, thinking, reading theology maybe a lot more than I probably would have done had I been zooming around the country or traveling with work. So from that point of view, it's been a blessing in that way. But yeah, it's also been an opportunity to reflect on the situation in the world as it was developing, and through my work as well, hearing all the stories of the different struggles around the world as well, and again, just talking to God about what's going on, and really kind of thinking through some of these theological issues, answering questions with friends as well, really trying to kind of, obviously lots of people in these kinds of contexts have challenging questions, so an opportunity to talk about that as well.
Excellent. Well, I think for us here and for me personally, I've been at St Peter's now for 13 months or so since I was licensed last year, and well, everything's happened in that time really, in terms of the church going online, and also doing a telephone service, people who don't have internet access. It feels like every month something has been changing in the life of the church, or needing to adapt to the current climate, or being able to open our church again for worship, or maybe for prayer, and then we're having to close it again. And for me, experiencing things first time here, what Christmas looks like with COVID restrictions, and recently Holy Week and Easter as well. And that's been been a challenge with a young family in the midst of all that. Our third child, James, was born just before Christmas, so we've had to work out that as well with everything. But it's been an exciting time. I've been learning lots and lots, and I continue to learn and need to learn more and more about God and His goodness to us as a church, and seeing real signs of fruit and growth. It's been a wonderful experience. And I'm sure that will continue. And I suppose leads on to the next question, and thinking about the next 12 months or so. Do you have particular hopes or maybe some concerns about what maybe lies ahead for the next 12 months?
Well, look, I'm really excited about the next 12 months. Studying for 3 years and the discernment process, really feels as if, I'm almost there, almost ready to hit the ground running. And honestly, for me, it's I'm just excited by the opportunity to serve and to learn. I mean, there's the two things for me, really. Just recognizing that it's a new community, a new church family, for me, a new way of doing things. Yeah, I really hope that I can to help you make your ministry a little bit easier, and to to also kind of bless the church family in their own journey with God. That's really what I'm hoping for.
I think something that I think that's great. I think one of the things I'm really hopeful for as well is I feel that God has provided a wonderful opportunity for us coming out of this lockdown. It's caused quite a lot of people to reflect on what they're living for, and I guess for a lot of people it's changed all sorts of work patterns as well. So they might have discounted certain areas of church service in the past, and perhaps new working environments, or working from home or commuting less, perhaps might give them more opportunities to come along to stuff at the church, or for us to be meeting up with them at different times, or to people to be exploring, maybe going on courses like Living Faith course, or Sussex Gospel Partnership, something like that, and different opportunities for people to be exploring their faith and maybe just taking that next step. And I think it's a wonderful opportunity for us as a church these next 12 months to really step up and kind of see what God is doing, and prayerfully discerning that. And I think it could be a really exciting time. It's a little bit nerve-wracking because you're just not quite sure, like in these, looking back from a year ago to now, we just weren't sure what the church was going to look like and what we'd be able to do now. And obviously we didn't know about things like vaccine and stuff like that. But I think it could be quite a creative, exciting time. I think with you coming along, I'm really looking forward to us kind of seeing what that might look like and what God might be doing over these next 12 months or so. I guess more widely then, in terms of thinking about the future of our faith, of Christianity in Britain, is there a particular thing that you've maybe noticed or discerned that gives you hope for the future of Christianity in Britain?
Yeah, I mean, there are certainly a lot of people who are tolling the bell for the end of religion generally, I think, but Christianity in particular in Britain. But I have to say I'm not so pessimistic. I'm quite excited really by God's faithfulness. This is his project. It's not our project. So from that point of view, it's not necessarily something we can do to fix. If there's something needs to be fixed, God is in charge. But also the gospel, is a message of hope, of peace, of salvation, and people don't change. Technology changes. We're living in a pandemic. Circumstance changes, but the reality is that people are still looking for that sense of hope, that sense of peace, for that sense of belonging and community. So I'm not so pessimistic. I'm particularly excited by the way that over the lockdown, particularly the Christian church has engaged with digital technology. We were hearing the other day about Alpha Online, Church Online, and the numbers of people who might not normally have walked through the doors of a church, going online, taking part, trying it out, seeing what's going on, and even sort of relatively small churches saying, we've doubled, tripled, quadrupled our numbers on a Sunday morning. For me, it's something I've been talking about for a long time, particularly at the Anglican Communion, and it's a really exciting opportunity to actually be where people are, be in the marketplace, as it were, and actually, so rather than standing there and kind of preaching from on top of a soapbox, you can actually be where the people are on a Sunday morning or anytime during the week. So for me, I think that's a really exciting open door, which I'm hoping that we can build on into the future.
Definitely. I was really encouraged the other evening when we had a training incumbents sort of welcome evening at your college, and just see the number of people who were there, and different ages, different backgrounds, different personalities, but all stepping up, and not just people stepping up for ordained ministry, but thinking more about throughout the country, people were excited by the gospel of Jesus Christ, and wanting to be skilled in learning how to share that and to live that out more, and following that call, I think is really exciting. And I guess the one thing that gives me hope is that Christ is still on his throne reigning, and we pray that his his kingdom would come. And I think we do see signs of that. Perhaps they're not always the kind of signs that we expect, and we have to sort of change our thinking in terms of maybe what church looks like. But it's one of the things that I've felt in this last 12 months at St. Peter's. I feel that there's a real hunger there for people wanting to step up and say, well, maybe there are certain things, we do well, we want to keep those things and that are important to us, and other things are feeling, well, maybe God's leading us in a new direction as well, and trying to sort of prayerfully discern which way to take those things. So I think that's more than one thing, isn't it? I was slightly greedy, sorry about that.
You're very positive about the future.
Yeah. Lots of stuff we can be praying about, obviously, but there are particular things that that you and the family would value prayer for at this time.
Yeah, I think the transition. It's a time of change, as you said, for myself and the family. So for a good transition, and for us as a family to understand what this means for us, and for us to get us comfortable with that as quickly as possible, I think would be really helpful. For energy as well, this is something I'll be doing as well as my job, as well as being a dad. So just a lot of energy, really, and for the spirit of wisdom more than anything else. I think that's just something that I'm really praying for, that I can be wise, but that God can give me His wisdom, so that so I can do the job, but also that when you're speaking into, like I said, other people's walk of faith, that actually what is shared and what is communicated is God's word. That would be fantastic.
That's great. One thing that we value prayer for at the moment, and I've spoken to a few other people who are thinking the same, is terms of actually how can we be thinking about being, showing hospitality again. It's something that we really want to do, and it's important to us. But we haven't had that opportunity just to have, lots of people round, and, have people around for lunch and dinner and meeting up and stuff. And I think that's something that'd be great to be praying about, because once it's feel a bit de-skilled in that area, how do we do hospitality, and that would be something great to be praying for, because I think hospitality is such an important part of Christian fellowship, and something that we can be modelling, and something that we want our churches to be getting on board with, and sharing the love of Christ round a table at a meal. So that would be something good to be praying for. But thanks for your time, Jan. We really look forward to seeing you and seeing you at the cathedral soon. And we're looking forward to you starting here at St. Peter's. It'll be great.
That's going to be great. Looking forward to it.
Thanks,
Tim. Bye for now.